Hi guys, it's me Terry of the Yarn Joy podcast. Welcome back to another tutorial. I had a request to demonstrate how to crochet the rectangle in the rectangles and squares throw using the actual written pattern. And so I said that would be no problem for me to do that, so here we go. Okay, now I'm just going to be using scrap yarn in my project. But I will change color or keep the color the same or change color as it goes along, just like the written instructions tells me, okay? Okay, so for round one, let me get my pattern here. I've got it off to the side so I can read the pattern. Okay, so round one says chain 15 with the your first color. Okay, so I'm going to make a slip knot. Okay. So now I'm going to chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Continuing on row 1, it says to work into the chain, okay, and it says single crochet in the 4th chain from the hook and in the next single crochet. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 4th chain from the hook, I'm going to single crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next chain. Okay, just like that. Now, just as a comment, the reason we single crocheted into the 4th chain from the hook, that will create, let me open it up here, it will create a chain 3 loop on the end of our piece. See that? Okay, and we're going to be working in that when we come back around. Okay. Okay, so we just did 2 single crochets, one in the 4th chain from the hook and then one in the very next chain. Okay, and then it says chain 1, skip the next chain and single crochet in the next 2 chains, and do that 2 times. Okay, so I chained 1, I'm going to skip the next chain and I'm going to single crochet in the next 2 chains. So single crochet in that one and then single crochet in the next one, and it says to do that twice, so I'm going to do it again. Chain 1, I skip that chain, the next chain, and then I single crochet into the next 2 chains. 1 and 2. Okay, and then it says chain 1, skip 2 chains, and then if you look at your pattern, it just says stitch in the next chain, and I believe that is a typo, and it actually should be saying to slip stitch into the next chain. Okay, so we're going to do that. So I chained 1, now it says to skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and then it says I'm going to slip stitch into the second to the last chain. Okay, so that makes a slip stitch. Okay, and it says that the very last chain of that chain 15 is going to be will remain unworked. Okay, now if you look at your piece, when I skipped 2 chains and I slip stitched into the next one, that actually created a chain 3 loop on the end, okay, of that piece. And remember, in the beginning of the piece, when we single crocheted in the 4th chain from the hook, it made a chain 3 loop. See that? So now we have this piece that's got a chain 3 loop on either end. Okay? Okay, so that's what your piece should look like. Okay, so that is the end of row 2, and it says after this that the piece is now worked in rounds. Okay, now continuing on round 2, it says to chain 3. So right where we're at, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then it says to do a 2 double crochet cluster in the end of the chain, in the end chain 3 space. Okay, so we chain 3, and then that hole right there is we're going to work into, because that is the end chain 3 space that they're talking about. Okay, so we're going to do a 2 double crochet cluster into this chain 3 space right there. So in order to do the 2 double crochet cluster, it tells you in the special stitches section of the pattern, it tells you how to do it. And it says to yarn over, you insert your hook into the next stitch or into that hole, the 3 chain loop that we made. Okay, so insert the hook in there, yarn over and pull up a loop. Okay, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And then it says to do it again. So yarn over, insert our hook back into that loop, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, okay? And then it says to yarn over and draw through all the remaining loops on your hook, okay? So that was a 2 double crochet cluster that we just made. Okay, so back to our pattern. It says after we make that 2 double crochet cluster, then it says to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me get some yarn here. Okay, and then it says to do a cluster into that same space. Okay, so now instead of a 2 double crochet cluster, a regular cluster is actually a 3 double crochet cluster. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that same space, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops, and then repeat that 2 more times. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and bring up a loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops, and then hold that. Now we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, insert into the loop again, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops, and now we have 4 loops on our hook. Now we're going to yarn over and go through all 4 loops, okay, and that's our regular cluster. Okay, so as you see, my work has turned because it was here, and now as I'm working, I'm going to be working it in rounds, and I'm going down the back side of our original piece now. It says to chain 2 and then cluster in each of the next 2 chain 1 spaces. Okay, so chain 2, 1, 2, and then it says to do a cluster into the chain 1, each of the next 2 chain 1 spaces. Okay, so if you stretch your work out a little bit, remember we're working on the back side of what we had done before, and remember on that front side we had chained 1 and then we skipped 1 and then did 2 single crochets. Okay, well, if you kind of pull it apart, you can see those holes where the chain 1 was, where we skipped a stitch. Well, that's the hole that we're going to work in the cluster into. Okay, so we chain 2, now we're going to do our cluster. So yarn over, go into that next chain 1 space, which is that hole right there, and then we're going to do a regular cluster. So we pulled up a loop, and then we yarned over and go under 2 loops, and then hold it, and then do it again. Yarn over, go back into the hole, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops, okay, and then one more time, yarn over, pull up a loop, go under 2 loops, and now we have 4 on our hook, yarn over and go through all 4. See that? And then now we're going to do it again into the next chain 1 space. So chain 2, then find our next chain 1 space that we made from the round before, which would be right there past those two stitches, see, 1 and 2. Okay, that's where we're going to put our next cluster. So yarn over and do a 3 double crochet cluster into that hole. Okay, we should have 4 loops on our hook, yarn over and go through all 4. See that? Okay, so next part of the instructions says to chain 2, and then it says cluster chain 3 twice in the end chain 3 space. So we're at the end here. So if we kind of pull our work apart there, we can see that right on the end we have a chain 3 space, which happens to be what the original where we had single crocheted in the 4th chain from the hook. Okay, well, that created a chain 3 space, chain 3 loop right there. Okay, so we're going to do a cluster and chain 3 2 times into that end loop. Okay, so cluster, yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, go under 2 loops. Yarn over, insert our hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, go under 2 loops. And one more time, yarn over, go into the loop, pull up a loop, yarn over and go under 2 loops. See, we got 4 on our hook, yarn over and go through all 4. Okay, so there's our first cluster, and then it says to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then it says to do it again into the same space. So yarn over, pull up a loop, okay, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, go under the 2 loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, go under 2 loops, and then see, now we have 4 on our loops on our hook, yarn over and go through under all 4, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it said to do that twice, we just did it twice. Okay, and then it says to cluster one more time into that space. Okay, so we're going to do it again. So there'll be 3 clusters into that loop. Okay, so yarn over, we're going to do our cluster. So there's 1, 2, and 3 times. Gives you 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go under all 4 loops. Okay, so see, there is our end piece. We have 3 clusters into that loop. Okay, going on, chain 2, cluster in each of the next 2 chain 1 spaces. Okay, so now it's easy to find those chain 1 spaces because it's going to be opposite of these 2 side clusters that we just did, okay, with chain 2s in between. Okay, so we chain 2, we're going to yarn over and do our cluster into the same space is that where that cluster was, okay, right opposite of it, we're going to do a cluster. 3 double crochet cluster, yeah. Okay, just like that. Then chain 2, and then we're going to do a 3 double crochet cluster. They just call it a cluster in the pattern, and in the opposite of where the next cluster was. Okay, do that, then chain 2, and then the one more cluster we need to make, and it says cluster into the end chain 3 space. So as you see, this end has 3 clusters. Well, this end needs to have 3 clusters. Right now it's got 2, 1 and 2. See that? So we need to do one more, and I'm going to work over this tail there, my beginning tail. Okay, so yarn over, and I'm going to do a cluster into that very end hole. Okay, yarn over, go under all 4 loops. See that? Okay, and now all I need to do is connect it. It says to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to join into the top of this very end cluster, which was the very first one we did. It was actually a chain 3 and a 2 double crochet cluster. Okay, so I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that cluster, and that will join my round. Okay, so that is what our round should look like. Okay, now these chain 3s here and here and here and here and here and here are actually going to be the corners. See, if you stretch them out, you can see that they're the corners of what our rectangle is going to be. See that? Okay. Okay, so that is the end of round 2. Okay, and so next is round 3, and it does not tell me to change colors. Now, you can change colors each round if you prefer. I'm going to follow as written the way the pattern is telling me where to change colors. Okay, so round 3 says to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. Okay, so right now we're on the top of this cluster. Well, the next chain 3 space will be this corner right there, right? So they want you to slip stitch into it. That'll get yourself over to where you need to be so you can work into that corner. Okay, and it says to chain 1, and then in this corner chain 3 space, we're going to single crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, and then into the same place, single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet, and then chain 2 again, 1, 2, and then single crochet. Okay, but all of it is done into that same corner space. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to chain 2, and we're in a round, so we're end up working around. I had to shift it to go around this side. Okay, so it says chain 1, which I just did, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the next into each of next 3 chain 2 spaces. So this one, and this one. See that? We're going to do the same thing into those 3 holes right there, okay? So we're going to chain 1, start with the chain 1, which I just did, and then single crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, and then single crochet back into the same hole, okay? And then chain 1, and then now we're going to do in the next one, single crochet, chain 2, and then single crochet, okay? Chain 1, and then single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Okay, so that gets us across the side, and we're coming up to another corner space. Chain 1, and now we're going into the next corner of our rectangle, which is right there, and we're going to do the same thing that we did in the beginning. We're going to single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, chain 3, and then single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet, and that was all done in that corner space. And then it says repeat from the asterisk 1. So go up to the asterisk, and it says, and it does not say to chain, so we're not going to chain, and it goes, you were going to go right back into that corner space. I'm sorry, we're going to go right into the next corner space, okay, without chaining in between. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, so that gets us around the corner and it's got us turned, okay? So now we're going to go down this side. So continuing on, now we're going to do work into these 3 holes, that one, and that one, but we are going to chain 1 in between. So chain 1, and then single crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, and single crochet, all in the same hole. And then chain 1 between, and then single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet back into the same hole, and then chain 1, do it one more time, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Okay, and then chain 1, and now we're into our final corner that we haven't worked into yet. Okay, and there we're going to single crochet, chain 2, back into the same corner, single crochet, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then into the same corner, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Okay, okay, and then it says chain 1, and then it says to join with the slip stitch into the first single crochet. So if we look at this corner here, we had that first little hump right there is our first chain 2 with the single crochets right in front of it, right before we did that, which is right here. So we're going to slip stitch into that single crochet, and then now it says to fasten off because we're going to change color. Okay, just leave your little tail there so that you can weave in. Okay, so I'm going to change fasten off. Okay, okay, so now one thing I'm going to show you is that reading this, I do see another typo as far as this other end. It did not tell us to chain between those 2 corners, okay? But over here it did tell us to chain 1, okay? So that's not going to be a problem. I'm not going to pull it out to redo that, but I'm just going to tell you once we get here, there is supposed to be a chain 1 here, and we're going to just work into that space between the 2 stitches, although it should have been a chain 1 space. Okay, that's a typo in the pattern. Okay, Okay, so now we're going to go to our next color. So now we are ready to go on to round 4. And it says with the next color, whatever color you're going to do, it says to repeat round 6 of the large square. Okay, so round 6 of the large square is where we're going to be reading from now. And it says, with the right side facing, join your color with a slip stitch in the first chain 1 space to the right of any corner. If you're right-handed, then yes, it would be to the right of the corner. If you're left-handed, you actually read it to the left of the corner. But what you're doing is you're joining right before you get to a corner, okay, into the chain 1 space, okay, which is right here. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook in that chain 1 space right before the corner, and I'm going to draw up a loop and attach it, okay, by chaining 1. That's how I attached it. Okay, now it says to chain 3 or do a beginning double crochet, but I'm going to just chain 3, which stands for my double crochet, and then it says to do 2 more double crochets into that same space. Okay, and I'm working over my beginning tail and that helps to secure it. So 1 double crochet and then 2 double crochets. Okay, and then it says chain 1, and now we're into the corner, and what we're going to work, the part that we're going to work into is the chain 3 space of that corner, which is the very top in the very corner chain loop that we made, and it's higher because these two, this one and this one right here, are chain 2 space loops that we made. Okay, so we're going to go into that, the top one. These 2 will remain unworked. Okay, so into that chain 3 corner space, we're going to work 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 double crochets back into the same space. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do 3 double crochets into each chain 1 space across to the next corner. And then in each corner, we're going to do the 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, okay? So here we go. So if we go and look at the end, oh, there, we have a chain 3 space on the very end. Now I'm going to work over that tail that I previously cut, okay? And remember, I need to do a chain 1 in between them. So chain 1, and then I'm going to do 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space there from the previous round. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so chain 1, and now I'm going into this corner. And remember, the corner is the chain 3 loop, not these 2 chain 2 loops that was in that corner. Okay, and I'm going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 2 to give us our corner, and 3 double crochets back into the same space. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, and now we're going to work down the sides, and we're going to work into the chain 1 spaces down the sides. See that? Okay, so we're going to do 3 double crochets into each chain 1 space. So 1, 2, 3, with the chain 1 in between. So chain 1. Now we're going to go to the next one, which would be right there. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, find the next one. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, find the last one on that side is right there. This is the chain 1 spaces that were going down the side. So 3 double crochets into that, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we're at the next corner. Let's chain 1. Okay, so now we're going to work into the corner, and you work into the tallest loop. See that, the one right there in the middle, and then that in there we're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, chain 1. Okay, now we're going to repeat. We're going to do 3 chain with chain 1s in between, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into this chain 1 space. Okay, and remember that because of the typo, there was not a chain 1 space there, so we're just going to do 3 double crochets in between these 2 single crochets right there. Okay, so 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 1 in between, and now we're at the next corner, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in this corner, and then we're going to turn the corner, and we're going to do chain 1, and then we're going to do the same thing that we did on this side, 3 double crochets into each chain 1 space across, and I will meet you when I come up to the join. Okay, so I finished that side doing 3 double crochets in each chain 1 space, chain 1 in between them. Okay, so I finished my last one, I chained 1, and now I'm going to join with a slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that I made here, what I started out with. Okay, so I'm going to do the slip stitch. Okay, and so now I go back over to my that was the end of round 4. So round 5 on the instructions for the rectangle says it does not say to change color, so I'm just going to stay with this color, and it says to repeat round 4 of the large square. Okay, so I'll go back to my large square instructions, and I will look at round 4, and it says I'm going to chain 3, but I'm going to turn. Okay, so chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to turn my work. Okay, and when I do that, that puts me right into a chain 1 space. Okay, and then they say to do 2 double crochets into that chain 1 space. Okay, so 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Okay, so it's chain 1, and then continuing on, we're going to do 3 double crochets into each of the chain 1 spaces across the side with a chain 1 space in between. Okay, and then 3 double crochets in the next one and a chain 1. Okay, and you're going to do that all the way to the end until we get into the corner, and then I'll show you the corner. Okay, so now I'm at the corner, and it says in the corner we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. So basically we're doing the same thing as we did the last round. Okay, so 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets. Okay, and then continue it around. Remember, once we always chain 1 before we go into a new space. Okay, so chain 1, and then we're going to do 3 double crochets onto the sides, in each of the spaces, and then we'll be in the corner again, and that'll be 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Okay, and then we're going to head down this side, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into each one, but remember you chain 1 in between each of the holes. Okay, and so we're going to repeat that for the whole round, just like we did last round. Okay, and I will meet you up when I get to the end. Okay, so I'm finishing up this corner. So I did 3 double crochets, chain 2, now I need to do 3 more double crochets into the same space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into this space, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, and now we're back to where we started, and we're going to do a slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 space. to join. Okay, so I'm going to fasten off. Okay, so that was the end of round 5. Okay, so remember, this is the wrong side of the work because we turned it. Okay, that's why you see these will be all weaved in, of course. So round 6, it says with your next color, repeat round 5 of the large square. Okay, and it says with the right side facing, so that means we're going to turn it back over, back to the right side, okay, with our next color. Join with the slip stitch into the first chain 1 space to the right of any corner. If you're left-handed, it would be to the left of any corner, but what it is it's the space right before a corner, okay? A chain 1 space to the right before the corner, okay? So pull up a loop, chain 1 to secure it, and then go on to the instructions. And it says single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 1 space. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, chain 1. Okay, and now we're in our corner. Now this is a repeat. This basically is going to be a repeat of the single crochet round that we did on round 3 right here, okay? Okay, so in the corner, we're going to single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, chain 3, still working into that corner, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the corner, okay? And now we're between the holes, so we'll do a chain 1, okay? Now we're going to go down along this side, and we're going to do the same thing that we did in the other chain 1 spaces, which is just single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, okay? And then chain 1 in between. Skip over to the next hole there, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, chain 1. Next one, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, chain 1. Okay, now we're back into this corner, and we're going to do the same thing that we did in that corner, which is single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet, okay, and then chain 1 in between, okay, turn, and now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to do that all the way around, okay? So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in each of these with the chain 1 in between, okay? And then in the corner we're going to do single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then chain 1 in between, and then keep going around, okay? And I will meet you at the end. Okay, so now I'm in the end of round 6. I chained 1 because it was between the spaces, and I'm going to just single crochet into the, slip stitch into the first single crochet of the round to fasten off, okay? So now I'm going to fasten off. Okay. Okay, next round says round 7. I'm going to be changing color, and it says to repeat round 6 of the large square. So go back to the round 6 of the large square, and this round is going to be just like the round 4 of the one we just did, okay? So I'm going to take my next color. So it says with right side facing, join your next color with a slip stitch into the chain 1 space, and it's right before a corner. Okay, so here's our corner. The chain 1 space right before it will be right there. Okay, so now I'm going to draw up my loop, chain to secure it. And then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and this is going to be like a double crochet. So 2 double crochets into that same chain 1 space. okay, and then chain 1 because we do that between our spaces, okay, and now we're going to go into the corner, and into the corner, remember, it's got 3 loops on here, a chain 2, a chain 3, and a chain 2. We're going to work into the chain 3, the middle one, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3, and then chain 2, and then 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then chain 1, and then we're going to go to the next chain 1 space, which is right there, and we're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, okay, and then 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, okay, see, it's the same thing that we did on this round, and well, no, actually it's this one, yeah, round 4, it's the same thing. So 3 double crochets into the chain 1 spaces with a chain 1 in between them, okay, see, chain 1 in between them, and then we have another chain 1 space there that we need to do, so we're going to put 3 double crochets there. Chain 1, and now we're into the corner again, and remember we use the work into the very middle chain loop, which is the chain 3 loop, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. So there's 3, and then chain 2, and then 3 double crochets. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1 after we do this. Okay, chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work, or shift our work, and then we're going to be working into the chain 1 spaces. See, right there, right there, right there. And we're going to do 3 double crochets with the chain 1 in between them all the way across. Okay, and so, see, there's our first one, and then chain 1, and then continue. Okay, and so we're going to get to this corner, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in the corners, but in the side chain 1 spaces, we're going to do these 3 double crochets with a chain 1 in between, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm coming up to the end of this round. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 space. Okay, and I'm going to fasten off. Okay, there you go. Okay, so that was round 7. So for round 8, it says to repeat the same thing. It says with the next color, or whatever other color you want to do, then you're going to repeat round 6 of the large square, which is exact repeat of this round that we just did right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let you do that off camera because it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to start into the chain 1 space right before a corner, right before we go to a corner, and then I'm going to do the same thing as I did in this previous round. Okay, so if you need to a reminder of what it is, you just reverse the video a little bit and then do the same thing as I did on this round, this row of the light blue. Okay. Okay, so now I'm coming up to the end of round 8. Okay, I'm coming up to where I started, so I need to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 to close off the round, and then I'm going to fasten off. Okay, so that is the end of round 8. Okay, so round 9 is going to be the last round of this rectangle, and so the color that you want to use for your last round is actually needs to be the main color of your blanket. So the last round is going to be the same color of your rectangles and your two sizes of your squares. Okay, I'm going to go on to round 9, and it says to, with right side facing, join your main color in the first chain 1 space to the left of the corner on either short end of the rectangle. Okay, so that means this time, instead of doing a chain 1 space right before the corner, you're going to do a chain 1 space after the corner. So in other words, and it says on either short end. Okay, so the short end of the rectangle would be here. So it'd be the after the corner space in the chain 1 space. So draw up a loop, chain 1. Okay, so now we're just going to do a single crochet into that chain 1 space. Okay, and it says to work a single crochet in each chain 1 space and in each double crochet around, working in, okay, and then it says working in corners 1 and 3, single crochet, chain 2, 2 single crochets, and then in corners 2 and 4 you're going to do 2 single crochets, chain 2, and 1 single crochet. And the reason it's different, it has to do with them wanting to end up with the same stitch count as the squares that are going to be connected to each side of this rectangle. So that's why they're saying that. Okay, so but everything else is going to be chain 1, I mean no chains, it's going to be except in the corners, but it's going to be single crochets in each chain 1 space and in each double crochet across. Okay, so just like that, with the single crochet into the chain 1 space. Okay, just like that. And we're going to go all the way across in each stitch, and I will meet you in the corner, in the first corner, and I'll show you what you need to do. Okay, so now I'm into my first corner, so I'm going to call that corner number 1 because it's the first corner I'm coming to. So in the instructions it says in corner number 1 and number 3 we will do single crochet, chain 2, and then 2 single crochets into the corner. So this is corner 1, so I'm going to do single crochet, single crochet, chain 2, and then 2 single crochets all in that same corner. Okay, now I'm going to turn and I'm going to go down this side and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a single crochet into the top of each double crochet, and then a single crochet into the chain 1 space all the way until we get to the next corner. Okay, and I will meet you up when I get to that corner. Okay, so now I am to my second corner, so that's corner number 2, and if you look in the instructions it says for corner number 2 you're going to do 2 single crochets and then chain 2 and then 1 single crochet into the corner. Okay, so 2 single crochets, chain 2, and then 1 single crochet. Okay, now I'm going to go work down this corner, and in this corner, this is going to be corner number 3, and it says for corner number 3 we're going to do what we did for corner number 1, which is single crochet, chain 2, and 2 single crochets. And then we're going to work all the way down this corner. I mean down this side to this corner, which is the last one. That's corner number 4, and we're going to do that corner like it says, like we just did here, where we do the 2 single crochets first and then chain 1 and then 1 single crochet. Okay, so I will meet you at the end. Okay, just know that we're alternating corners. Okay, so number 1 corner and number 3 corner we do the same thing, and then number 2 corner right here, and then number 4 corner, which is here, we do this. Okay, so I just finished corner number 4, and I'm heading down this last side up to where I started my first single crochet, and I'm going to slip stitch into my first single crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to fasten off. Okay, so there is my square. Let me zoom it out. I mean my rectangle. Whoops, wrong way. Okay, so there is my square. Not square, rectangle. Okay, so there's my rectangle. I need to, of course, weave in these ends. Okay, but there is a rectangle. It looks a little bit crooked It has to be, you could either block it, or really when you sew this squares, sew them together in the blanket, that it should help straighten it out. But anyway, here it is, and that is how you do it according to the written instructions on the actual pattern. So I hope the person that requested me to do this tutorial, I hope this will help them to understand the instructions. They are written a little bit tricky and I did find a couple of typos in it, so I hope this helps. Okay guys, so thanks for watching another tutorial, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.